Hello and welcome to day 10 of my mental health Vlogmas. Today I really struggled to pick a topic. I have lots of different topics that I want to talk about and I just couldn't decide which one to talk about. So I thought the best topic to talk about today would be anxiety and indecision. Now when you're in a sort of higher anxiety state, making simple decisions can be really overwhelming. And then making the big decisions can just seem absolutely impossible. You can become very paralyzed by all the choices, and usually this comes from a fear of making the wrong choice. And a lot of the time, a consequence can be not making a decision at all, and that can have its own ramifications and can be really bad. So it's pretty difficult to tackle because obviously most of the time the sort of simple decisions, the anxiety isn't actually coming from the decision you're making, it's coming from a much larger issue. But a way to tackle that is because you could try asking a trusted person, a friend or family member, to help you make the sort of small decisions. Like if I'm struggling to decide what to cook for dinner, my husband will decide. And if you know my husband, you'll most likely know that he will always cook because he's a much better cook than me. But yeah, so you can help sort of take away those little decisions that are causing anxiety, and in the grand scheme of things don't really matter as long as they get done. And that sort of takes away that responsibility and leaves you to tackle the big decisions and also sort of tackle the anxiety itself and where that's coming from. Now with big decisions, if you're in a really bad way, I would advise not making any big decisions at all. Try and not avoid them, but sort of delay them to where you're sort of in a better state of mind. Because obviously if they're a big decision like a career change or something like that, it's a pretty important thing that you want to make sure that you're 100% comfortable with. But sometimes you don't have that luxury to wait. And so one thing that I think has really been helpful for me is journaling. Now, journaling isn't really for everybody. Not everyone's comfortable doing it. But I think also it kind of is for everybody. I think it can be useful for everyone. So just getting your thoughts down on paper, weighing up the pros and cons to something, can be really helpful in sort of figuring out how you truly feel about something and help with making the decision. But I think a lot of people struggle with journaling getting started. And I can understand that too. Sometimes I feel so overwhelmed by everything, there's too many thoughts going on and I just don't know where to start. So I start with a word, any word, just the first word that pops in my head. And then I write down the next word that pops in my head, and the next, and the next. And then I get the ball rolling and I can really sort of open up the communication with myself. And it can be really helpful because it may be a big mesh of random words, weird sentences, not really strung together. But in actual fact, it gets those thoughts out and you can actually sort of look back and see what was going on in your head and pick out bits that are sort of the key points. So I thought I would read one of my journal entries from a while back. Now I haven't looked back at this in a long time, but yeah, so I'm gonna sort of read this out and sort of pick apart the main parts of it so you can sort of get an example of what I mean by sort of how helpful it can be. Okay, So this is from January last year. Here we go. Overwhelmed. It is the best way to describe how I have been feeling. A million thoughts race around my mind, but I am lost. I cannot make sense of it all. I have bursts of energy and drive and motivation. Mere moments later and they're gone. I try to stop and breathe, but I find myself lost in my own mind. My mouth moving, sound coming out, but it's like someone else is in charge. It is not my voice or my words, but it is. Overwhelmed by the fast pace of life. Days pass in what feels like seconds. Months pass in minutes. Then I am asked, what have you been up to? I stumble over my words, fumble my fingers. Oh, I've been really busy. Haven't really stopped yet. But busy with what? What have I really been doing all this time? Why do I feel like I haven't taken a moment's break? Overwhelmed. Thoughts, emotions, endless tasks, it all rolls into one jumbled mess of an existence. I'm exhausted. I'm stuck in a cycle of what feels like constant failure. Every time I feel like I'm finally getting ahead, someone sucker punches me in the face with new responsibilities or ones I've forgotten about. How on earth am I supposed to keep up with it all? To other people, I probably look okay and on top of things, but probably not on top of the world, but at least handling things. But I'm not. Overwhelmed. I'm not handling things very well. I'm trying really hard, but then sometimes not hard enough. I feel like I'm sinking into a dark place I've been before. Lately I've been flapping about, more panicked than usual. Perhaps that is because I'm afraid of sinking back into that dark place. Afraid that if I go back I will never leave. I am trying all my techniques but with no consistency, no routine, so I fall back to being overwhelmed. I'm exhausted yet I cannot sleep. I rest but I am not rested. I cry but I cannot weep. I feel everything but nothing at all. The path forward is unclear. The path behind me is unclear. I am lost. I am drowning without water. I am asking for help, but how can I ask for something when I do not even know what I need? My body is riddled with pain, yet I continue to abuse it. I throw it around like a yo-yo, one moment holding it close and tentatively, the next launching it out as far as it will go, hoping the string of reality does not snap. It is even a challenge to write my thoughts on this paper. My mind is racing too fast, my hand cannot keep up. Words are spilling onto the page without meaning, but perhaps they have every meaning, wrapped up in the scribbles. Time to beg for sleep. So that's pretty deep. So I was obviously going through a rough period. The main thing is I can sort of get from this now is I was very overwhelmed by everything and I wasn't taking any breaks, which sounds oddly familiar now. It's kind of one of my flaws. I keep going and going until I just completely break down. It's something that I need to sort of break the cycle. And I think this time around, I've sort of caught myself a lot earlier than what I would normally would. So I'm trying this time to sort of break the cycle and give myself the rest and break that I need now, rather than continuing and getting increasingly more overwhelmed. Another thing I noticed from this entry is that I'm worrying about other people's expectations of me, and I'm in pain. So I'm obviously having a flare-up of my chronic pain, and I feel like by the end of this I'm realising that that I am sort of suffering from depression and I'm feeling very low, and I feel like by the end of the entry I've sort of figured out that I'm not okay and I need to do something about it. because just skating over the sort of previous entry, I'm sort of frustrated about things, but I've not really kind of accepted what was going on. Now for me, I don't journal every day. Sometimes I do and it's useful. Sometimes I can go months without journaling because I don't need to. It can be useful to do it on a regular basis, but if that's not really your thing, then actually just doing it when you're feeling overwhelmed can be just as helpful. So I hope this vlog has made some sort of sense. I'm feeling very tired at the moment and finding it difficult to focus my thoughts. But I think that's probably because I need to get some more sleep. I think that's the main thing for me right now. I'm not sleeping that well because I've been a bit poorly with a cough, and the husband's been a bit poorly with a cough as well, so obviously feeling run down. So I hope this has been an informative vlog. My happy thought of the day was when I got home from work. We had the sofa bed out, and I just had a cuddle with my husband and my dog under a blanket, and we watched some TV, and it was just nice being there in the moment and enjoying it and not worrying about everything else. So thank you for watching. As always, be kind to yourselves, and I will link to my previous vlogs in case you missed them, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.